And now the Wall Street Journal writing, quote, renewables show again that they aren't reliable to our power grid. Joining me now is Copenhagen Consensus Center President Bjorn Lomborg. Good to see you, Bjorn. Thank you for coming in. So we're already experiencing these rolling blackouts in California, the disaster last winter in Texas, which may be bad now with the heat wave that's going on in Texas. And this is without, by the way, all of the extra energy, electric energy we're going to be needing for all these new electric cars that are going to be on the road. It's a whole new pressure on our power grid that I don't know if that's been factored into everything. Are the Biden plans to do away with fossil fuels relatively quickly going to make this matter even worse?
Well, it's very clear that we don't know how we would actually manage to do that. Biden and many other leaders around the world want to go fossil fuel free by 2035. But the reality, of course, is what these crises show us is we need sustainable baseload power. And most of that does not come from renewable. There are many reasons, both why there are problems in the winter and why there are problems now. But fundamentally, it underscores we need stable power. Also, and I think that's probably one of the things we're really missing out on, we need cheap power. Because if you have cheap power, you can actually cool your home when you need it. You can heat your home when you need it. When we're driving up prices, and that's what green energy does, when you drive up the prices, you make it less affordable for everyone. And obviously that means more people are going to be vulnerable both to heat and cold.
And yet you see the Biden administration kind of jumping the shark in terms of getting rid of things before we're ready to get rid of some of these fossil fuels, and including the pipeline. One of the first things he did as president was to cancel the Keystone Pipeline project. Of course, he did so, and then right after that gave the green light to Russia to go ahead with their gas pipeline, which no doubt, by the way, will be dirtier than our pipeline. You can guarantee that the Russians aren't as interested in clean energy as we are, or the Canadians. So, I mean, all of this, I'm just wondering if they're trying to push something too soon before we either have the infrastructure for it or the capacity for it.
Oh, it's definitely too soon. Look, fundamentally, you're not going to get people to switch when it's very expensive. And that's what we're trying to do right now. You might be able to get a few well-meaning Americans and other Europeans and others around the world who are rich and willing to pay in order to do something for climate. But it'll only be a little bit. And it won't really matter because, as you point out, the Russians, the Chinese, the Africans, the Indians are not going to do this. So we need to understand we're only going to solve this problem if we have innovation. If we could innovate the price of green energy down below fossil fuels, everyone would switch, and we'd be happy to do so. But pushing it through when it's still very expensive, no, that's not a good deal.
Finally, Bjorn, and this is of great interest to Americans, particularly unionized Americans who are making a lot of money off the fossil fuel industry. Our new climate czar and other people in the Biden administration saying, no problem, the green jobs will be great, they'll be paying you more, et cetera. Here's what John Kerry, our kind of climate czar, said about that recently. Listen.
The fastest growing job in the United States before COVID was solar power technician. The same people can do those jobs, but the choice of doing the solar power one now is a better choice. Similarly, you have the second fastest growing job pre-COVID was wind turbine technician. I think that workers are going to see that with the efforts of the Biden administration, they're going to have a much better set of choices, and frankly, it will create more jobs than stuck where we were.
Well, Bjorn, that was a couple of months ago. Now a South Dakota wind turbine plant is closing down, less than 2 months, 300 workers out of jobs. This is what the Obama administration did, too, by the way. They really oversold the number of jobs that have been created by green energy. And a lot of workers are losing their jobs without having another job to go to in green energy.
So look, there's both a transition issue. If you're skilled in one thing, for instance, oil extraction, you can't just go and be a solar technician. But in the long run, of course, we will see a transition towards more green energy. But you should not fool yourself. If you have to subsidize it, it simply means you have to take that money in tax revenue from other businesses. That will deplete those jobs. So fundamentally, most models show, no, you're not going to get either a bonus or a detraction of jobs. You're simply going to have the same amount of jobs. But what really matters is, are these productive jobs? They're not if you have to subsidize solar and wind. Once we've discovered how to make green energy so cheap that everybody wants it, of course it's great that people are going to be working in those areas.
Yeah. You know, Tom Sowell once said there are no solutions, only trade-offs. And
Yes.
This is one of those examples. Bjorn Lomborg, great to see you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good to see you, David.